What's going on, everybody? We have Todd Chrisley that's talking about life behind bars in prison. We have Ryan Reynolds that's getting dragged back into Baldoni's lawsuit. Jay-Z losing his case against Tony Buzbee. Lots to get into. I hope you're ready for it. Let's dive in. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. What's up, guys? Welcome on in, welcome on in, welcome on in. What's today? Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, July 1st. We're now into July. Summer is off and running. We got it. We got it. I got it from my mama. We got it. We got it. I got it from my mama. What's up, guys? What's on the docket for today? Lots of legal drama. We have Todd Chrisley. He was just on his daughter Savannah's podcast talking about life behind bars. So much in there. Ryan Reynolds and Van Zandt stuff. We'll get into the Reynolds stuff in just a bit. We do have some Mormon wives news. We have the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives reunion that is dropping today. This later tonight, I guess, Tuesday, July 1st. It, I think streams at 9 p.m. Pacific, 9, 10, 11 midnight Eastern. So if you're in the US, those are the appropriate times. I know we have a lot of people from all over the world, which, by the way, shout out where you're watching in from so I can give you a little love in the club. Oh, today's Canada Day. Happy Canada Day. I don't know what Canada Day is, but yes. Is that like the 4th of July in the US? Is that like the equivalent in Canada? It's already dropped in the UK. Oh, well, yeah, because the UK's ahead. Okay. Red Ginger says, you can't pay me to watch Nick Vile. Yeah. Not my favorite. C-Note is watching from San Diego. We have Joanna from Glassglow. We have Mildly Mercurial that says F. Ryan Reynolds because he's from Canada. We have Ariana from New York City. Oh, Ariana, are you coming to the New York show? No Filter Live, New York City, August 3rd in Manhattan, City Winery. Tickets go on sale in 48 hours. What's today? Tuesday. So tickets officially go on sale to the general public on Thursday. If you're a member of City Winery, if you're like their Vino member, I believe you can get tickets now. I believe that you can do that. Mildly Mercurial in Ohio, Libby's in San Diego, Sarah's in Alabama, Molly's in Georgia, Mom Unscripted is in Orange County. Orange County. Yay, Ariana's coming to my New York show. Robin loved book club last night. Yes, guys, we have caught up on Bookville. Fana from Farmville. Fana, you're coming to the Dallas show, right? Fana. Red Ginger in the Marina Del Rey. Red Ginger, you must be coming to the LA show then. I'm thinking Amy from Colorado. Amy, you should come to Arizona. Come to the Arizona show. It's going to be fun. Okay. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. We have the reunion that is airing on July 1st, depending on when you're listening to or watching this. And then on top of that, we have Whitney and Jen Affleck joining Dancing with the Stars, which will be taping this fall. Jen just gave birth, or she was in labor at a nail salon this week. And now it appears she has officially had her baby. Just a pretty little baby. I'm so in love with you. So Jen and Whitney are officially joining the cast of Dancing with the Stars. Carrie Ann Inaba, Len Goodman, Bruno Toccioli. I just love when they say Carrie Ann Inaba. I love that accent. Carrie Ann Inaba. Is it still the same man that does it? I haven't seen Dancing with the Stars in ages, like forever. But Whitney, congrats. What's her name? Jen, congrats, Jen Affleck. You know, good for them. Happy for them. Mm, 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 mm. Sorry, I got a little distracted. Apologies. But yeah, so we also have Jay-Z's. Sorry, I'm a little all over the place this morning, guys. Sorry, apologies. But that's Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. That's Jen and Whitney. Good for them. Happy that they get to live their lives. Just live your life. Hey, come on, chasing that paper. Just living my life. Oh, oh, oh. Okay, let's move on to Jay-Z. Jay-Z and Tony Buzbee. So Jay-Z, I guess, was suing Tony Buzbee for extortion and defamation, and apparently that didn't work out in his favor. A California judge has decided to reverse or not reverse the decision, but decided to dismiss the lawsuit. Extortion, defamation. He was coming for Tony Buzbee. He's like, Buzbee, I'm coming for you. Don't make false allegations. Remember, he was trying to tie him to Diddy and tried to say that Jay-Z was one of the other parties involved in a Diddy alleged assault. Well, the case got tossed out. I actually have the documents here. Thank you to Colonel Kurtz tagged me in this. And so I'm glad I was able to pull it up, and then we'll just read through it together because it's interesting. I mean, listen, defamation cases and motions to dismiss, it seems like this is becoming a common theme. But here, let's pull up these documents. So we have this tweet that was by the Diddy docket. Breaking news in the matter of Carter versus Busby, which is Sean Carter, which is Jay-Z. Carter versus Busby. Busby's motion to dismiss Jay-Z's defamation suit has been granted. Judge says legislator needs to work on protecting claims of serious accusations and wrongly accused. Expects an appeal. Stay tuned. Pretty sure Jay-Z will appeal. So it's sort of a win for Tony Buzbee. But here, let's read what the actual conclusion was from the judge. So this is all from the Diddy docket. Conclusion: the courts want to emphasize that this is a difficult motion and that the new evidence has thrown a monkey wrench into the court's reasoning, or at least its ongoing reasoning. The court also recognizes that it is painfully obvious that the court is struggling with this motion. In fact, the court has issued a series of tentative decisions, each different and sometimes significantly so than the one before. All of them had denied the motion, at least in part, after spending just about all the time permitted under the California Constitution to consider the question. Though the court has finally come to ground, this is the last iteration in its court's final word. An SMS is a powerful tool. It is designed to protect important constitutional rights, and thus ought not to be denied lightly, but it closes the courthouse door, so it outright not be granted lightly either. Whereas here, the underlying case involves accusations of a truly horrible crime, and the court must tread especially careful. The Constitution and constitutional rights cannot thrive where the courts become a weapon to invoke silence out of fear of litigation. But neither can due process survive where but neither can due process survive when the courthouse door slams shut in the face of the one wrongfully accused. Our legislators sought to find a carefully crafted rule to balance those competing vital interests to allow lawsuits to be litigated where there is reason to believe a wrong was done, but to throw them out speedily where they are being used to silence discussion and impede justice rather than further it. This court has tried to balance these competing values and has ultimately come out on the side of dismissing the action, although the court is not wholly satisfied that this is the outcome that is best for the legislation and constitutional doctrines. All of that said, and at length, this court is only the first stop of the party's SMS journey. It will be for the court to appeal to determine whether the court got it right or wrong and whether the suit ought to go forward or ought to end. Stay tuned. In any event, the motion is granted. So it kind of seems like there's some reluctance, right, from Your Honor, Mark H. Epstein. Seems like the judge feels a little reluctant to issue this motion because I'm assuming there was some hesitation with whether or not this should be dismissed and whether or not you believe Jay-Z is innocent or is guilty of what Tony Buzbee has accused him of, which again is connecting him to the alleged assault that was at the hands of Diddy. Diddy is currently awaiting the jury deliberations in his trial, so we'll see what happens. I know there were some predictions that Diddy's going to get some time. Other people are feeling like Diddy may get away with this. I'm torn, so I'm uncertain what the heck is going to happen with Diddy. I don't know. I don't know. You know? I don't know. So we'll just have to wait and see. TBD, we shall see. Um, that said, let's keep it going. Let me see. What's the live chat saying about the Diddy case? I still think Diddy is nasty. Yeah, I get it. You know, I get it. Libby says, my pregnancy craving is a cup of coffee, 10 donuts, and a Zack Peter YouTube live. Yay. We love to hear it. Sarah says, just a question here. I don't normally follow Hollywood peeps, only following the Baldoni and Lively because I'm a huge Colleen Hoover fan, and then, of course, got pulled in. What's your question, my love? Oh, here's her question in a separate one. Sarah asks, is Ryan and Blake the only two that do this crap, or is this normal for Hollywood peeps? I mean, it appears that it is normal for Hollywood peeps. That kind of seems to be the gist of it. We'll get into the Ryan Reynolds stuff in just a sec because I feel like that's also super interesting with the Van Zandt piece and putting together those theories because it's just I don't know. It's messy. But we have Todd Chrisley. For those of you that remember, Chrisley knows best. Todd Chrisley and his wife Chrisley Julie, they were in prison. I believe Todd was there for was it 2-ish years? About 2-ish years that he was locked up alongside his wife Julie. They made an appearance on their daughter Savannah's podcast, which is called Unlocked, and now they're officially clink clink unlocked. But he's opening up and saying that, had he seemed to have made the best of it, his time in prison. I mean, which I guess, like, what else can you do at that point? Here are some excerpts from the podcast. So he tells his daughter, Savannah, he says, I feel like I did a podcast for 28 months with all the people that were around me. And he said that in prison, they used to call him Teflon Todd, I guess, because he was so tough. He was strong. He was like Teflon and nothing could stick. And so I know he and his wife, Julie, they were sentenced to 19 years in prison. Obviously, they got out early because President Donald Trump ended up pardoning them in May. Wow, I can't believe that was already May. So they've been out for quite a few weeks now. Anyway, they were immediately released from prison. Now they're, opening up. Todd said that the only way he was able to cope was to make some really good friends behind bars. And he also said that the mindset was a big part of it. He said that in his head, he was still free. He did not take residence there. His mind frame centered around this mantra: I was in prison. Prison was not in me. Well, I don't know, Todd. Were other things in you in prison? We ain't gonna judge. We just want to know. But he said, I prayed, I read my Bible, I worked out, I walked, I wreaked havoc on anyone that was mistreating somebody else. So he was like, he was Karen Chrisley in prison. You go, Todd. He said that the first night was really tough. He cried. He was angry at God. He felt like God had punished him in some way. He's like, let me pray the guy away. JK, JK. But he said, he trusted that he was being planted here and that God was going to get him through it. And I guess God got him through it because God got him all the way um, to freedom, you know? He said he didn't work. He was not having it. He said, I did not work. I did not give them any labor. He said he said that he only prayed for their demise while he was in the prison chapel. He made a friend in prison. He made a friend named Jig, which sounds like a boyfriend, but he said, I had read that you were wait, is this his? Yeah. He said, I had read that you were going to be taking nothing for free because then you got to give up something too. And I'm too old to be fighting all these people off. So he said he was lucky that he had Jig. He received a lot of support from Jig. Jig was a good Samaritan. I'm sure he helped give Jig a few little jigs in prison. He was like, let me jig you off. That said, let's see, what else did he say? Oh, he talks about Rick Singer. Rick Singer is the guy from the college admission scandal. I guess they had some beef because according to Todd, he was, I guess, talking smack. He was talking smack about Savannah, and Todd did not like that. He was like, don't you be talking about my daughter. And so he got up in his face and he told him, no, not today. He said that he'd set him straight and said that something about he was gonna like shit in his mouth. Something. Hold on. Um, let me pull the exact quote of what he said. I just thought it was kind of funny. He went up to Rick Singer and he said that He said, "I will rip your head off and shit down your neck if you talk about my child again." He said, "And I meant what I said." Like, shit down your neck is, I, I've never heard that slogan before, but sure, that sounds like a threat. I will rip your head off. I think he meant to say, like, I will suck your head off. And when he said shit down your throat, like maybe he meant sit on your face. I don't know. Just, spitballing here, trying to make sense of it. Not the neck. Josh said not the neck, right? It's so random. It's just such a weird comment. Like, why would you say that? Joanna says, maybe you learned something from prison. Maybe. Getting jiggy with the holds up. Yep. Zach needs to read that comment. That was so damn good. What comment? Which comment do I need to read? Not let me jiggy. A few little jigs. Getting jiggy with it. Zach. Julie was in Kentucky. That's right. Todd was in Texas and Julie was in Kentucky. And he was like, oh my God. He was missing his wife, Julie. Sarah said, you're so sassy. Does anyone think he's tough? No. I don't know who gave him the nickname Teflon Todd, but no. Libby says, is Todd your type? Not really. Not really, Molly says, I literally loved watching the Chrisley show because of all the funny statements that they would make on it. Did he ever come out or is he still closeted? No, he's married. He loves his wife. Somebody said, I'm evil. Am I? God gave him, it started with that. Oh, yeah. God gave him knees to get down on in prison. Debbie says that my impression of Todd sounds like Foghorn Leghorn. Who the fuck is Foghorn Leghorn? Why does he have so many horns? Zach is way too hot for Todd. Thank you, Christina. That's very nice of you. Todd was in Pensacola. Oh, that's right. So then who was in Texas? Wasn't Julie in Texas? Then she got moved to Kentucky? She was supposed to be in somebody. Oh, Jen Shaw and Elizabeth Holmes are in Texas. That's right. They're in Bryan, Texas. That's why I'm getting all my felons confused. I apologize. Zach deserves someone as yummy as him. That's so sweet. Thank you. Reposted it to make it easier. What did you? Oh, Michelle said God gave him the body of Christ right in his Holy Spirit. I know that's right. Praise Jesus, right? Jesus saved Blake Lively. He healed her emotional distress. Now he's over here healing Todd Chrisley's hole. But yeah, he was out there fighting and shitting down people's necks, which again is just a very strange threat to make. Not really sure how to feel about that, but sure. You do you, boo. You do you. How many times does he have? How many horns does he have? Yeah, I don't know. Zach and Dan Levy. Interesting combo. Holy Spirit. He was like, let me pray. Let me get down on my knees and pray to this glory hole. To this glory Holy Spirit. Okay, that's Todd Chrisley. Seems to have been thriving out in prison. Oh, here's an interesting thing that happened. Keith Urban decided that he was going to be he I guess was doing an interview to promote one of his upcoming shows, and so he did this radio show, Radio Today in Australia, and they apparently pissed him off, and I'm curious what you guys think. So here, I'm going to play it for you, and then you tell me whether this was dramatic or whether you think it was warranted, because he decided to nix. He decided to leave the interview because he was not happy with the hosts. So here we go. Here's the clip.
So the way the way the wall of truth works is you sort of just have to answer this question truthfully. And when I was coming up with something to ask you, Keith Urban, if you're happy to play this game, the first thing I thought of, with your beautiful wife Nicole Kidman being on so many great movies, TV shows all the time. I watched a movie with her and Zac Efron recently, Family Affair, and I thought,
that's a good one.
What does Keith Urban think when he sees his beautiful wife with beautiful younger men like Zac Efron having these beautiful love scenes on TV and radio? Oh, why has that happened? What's just happened to you?
He's disconnected from Zoom.
Did he just hang up on us?
I think his team hung up on us because they didn't want us to ask that question.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Were we told not to ask that?
No.
That's
He's
what's
gone.
happened.
He's
Oh my
gone.
God,
Oh,
But he was like smiling.
See
I
you,
know,
Keith.
but he doesn't like the personal stuff.
What do you mean?
Oh, I knew that would happen.
No way. That was
We've
a nice.
upset him.
We haven't upset Keith, have we?
Yeah, he's gone. I knew that was going to happen.
I thought we were vibing with Keith.
We are, but he doesn't like talking about his wife.
And me?
No.
What do you mean? How
I
could you
don't
not
talk-
like talking about your wife?
Because
Wife's
it's
Nicole
private.
Kidman.
He doesn't like talking about that.
You just say it's fine
Oh,
and you
no,
move on.
He hates us.
Okay. I think it was more of his team rather than it was him. Are you sure he didn't just lose connection? Apparently, they verified that his team cut off the connection, I guess, because they were explicitly told not to ask any personal interviews. Joanna says, that's just a disrespectful question. And then Stephanie says, grow up, Mr. Urban. And Sophie said, laugh my ass off. He just left the chat. He said, call dropped. Boop. He intentionally, well, I think what happened was his team cut the call. I think they made it clear that no personal questions were to be asked. I don't think he likes talking about Nicole Kidman. And it was kind of an awkward and weird question. Like, it's one thing to reference his wife or to, ask something kind of, I do feel it was a little disrespectful to be like, how do you feel about your wife making love to Zac Efron? Like, I just think it's a weird question to ask. Debbie says Keith Urban and Teresa Giudice leaving interviews. It's just funny. Like, they're just like no time to do it, right? They're just like, boop, I'm out. Peace. Like, there's just no no conversation. I thought it was funny that he just said peace and dropped. I mean, listen, here's the thing though. When you pull out of these interviews and you just leave, all you do is make more press, That's what happened with Teresa Giudice. That whole moment went viral on the local Chicago news show that she was on. Same thing with, same thing with Keith Urban. Like, now we're talking about this. Now we're talking about these hosts and we're listening to Mixes 102.3, Haley and Max, Mixes 102.3, Haley and Max in the morning with Haley Pearson and Max Burford. So it's just more promotion for them, All it does is help them more than it actually hurts their interview in any sense. Gwen says, that's true. Wouldn't have ever known about this interview. Would have never even known about this show, So that's all you're really doing. Okay, let's talk about Ryan Reynolds. Is there anything else? We talked about Buzbee. We talked about Keith Urban, talked about Mormon Wives, talked about Todd Chrisley. Ryan Reynolds. So here's what's interesting. Ryan Reynolds has now been listed because you know how Friedman in the legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, obviously Justin's case has been dismissed. They did not amend their complaint. Predictions are that they're going to be filing for an appeal because they believe that the judge threw the defamation case out way too early without proper discovery. But there's still Blake Lively's case that is unfolding. And now they have to prove that she's not telling the truth and that the allegations against Justin Baldoni are false claims. And so I believe that will give them grounds for an appeal should they get to that point. As of right now, there's no appeal that's been filed. Now, that said, Ryan Reynolds has been dragged into the mix again, even though he was dismissed when Baldoni's lawsuit got dismissed, because now Ryan Reynolds is being listed as the CEO of Van Zandt. Which is interesting because this is seemingly Blake Lively's shell company. Remember when Josh Boswell of the Daily Mail investigated Van Zandt and they found out that there was a California Van Zandt and a New York Van Zandt, but it originated from these other people, and was Blake Lively involved from the beginning? Was she not? She didn't appear to be part of anything until I think 2021-ish, and the only known business dealings of Van Zandt were purchasing furniture for the Taylor Swift music video. Is the conclusion that we came to based off of the information that was available online. And so Blake Lively was the registered agent. She was the person that was on the documentation at the time. Well, Brian Friedman was saying, produce all of the Van Zandt documents. We want all communications with Stephanie Jones and Jones Work, and we want your articles of incorporation, or they wanted all of the documents that show who the officers are, who, runs Van Zandt, all of that. And the interesting thing is, Blake Lively was the CEO at the time that the subpoena was issued and at the time that the company seemed to have resurfaced. Ryan Reynolds' name was not attached to it at all, right? However, Ryan Reynolds is now listed as the CEO. And people are like, well, what does that mean? What does that have to do with anything? And also, if Van Zandt is the one that sued all these Jane and John Does, what did Ryan Reynolds at Van Zandt have anything to do with Jennifer Abel? Because now that's where they're trying to. Obviously, Baldoni was able to get a copy of the subpoena in his litigation against Blake Lively, but Jennifer Abel is suing Jones' work and Stephanie Jones, trying to connect the dots to Blake Lively to prove that there was some sort of collusion that went down, right? Well, it's an interesting move to list Ryan Reynolds as the CEO of Van Zandt. And part of me is like, are they doing this intentionally? Are they doing this to distract us? What does this have to do with any of this? And I mean, putting on my, not conspiracy brain, but just like my problem solving, let's figure this clue out. I think maybe it's gonna be in relation to Maximum Effort, and, like, they're gonna link since Maximum Effort did the marketing on It Ends With Us, that maybe they're gonna try to tie the 2 together and try to prove that Van Zandt is somehow related to Maximum Effort, and that was the contract dispute because that's what the Van Zandt lawsuit was about a contract dispute. So I'm adding my own conjecture, and I'm saying I think it's going to be linked to Maximum Effort since Maximum Effort was technically contracted, and that's Ryan Reynolds' company, and it was contracted to do the marketing and promotion for It Ends With Us. So I'm assuming that's the, you know, I don't know. It's all weird. Did he try to backdate it? Oh, that's a good question. I don't think he tried to backdate it. I believe it was as of June 30th. So as of yesterday, as of Monday, this happened. He's thinking adding himself as the head of Van Zandt that he cannot be touched. I don't know. It probably he made it say January 1st, 2021. Regardless, the subpoena was issued in 2024. So Blake Lively was the CEO at the time that the subpoena was issued. And again, we don't know what business dealings Van Zandt had with Jones' work or Stephanie Jones or Jennifer Abel, because Jennifer Abel is the one that's pursuing litigation. So it's going to be strange. You can't just have a random shell company and start issuing out subpoenas with lawsuits that seem to be shams and then use that info to what you just, it was a happenstance. So you just happened to come across these communications and found out there was a smear campaign and then you gave it to your wife so that she could sue Baldoni. Please. 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 Well, that said, thank you guys for joining today's episode of No Filter with Zack Peter. I love you. I appreciate you. Be sure to get your tickets, guys, to the No Filter live shows. We have Philly that's coming up. Well, first off, before Philly is July 23rd, but we have on July, here are all the dates so I can pull them up for you. Dallas, Phoenix, Philly, Chicago, New York City, Seattle, Los Angeles. Dallas is going to be July 11th and Phoenix is July 13th. We have Colonel Kurtz. We have Andy from Popcorn Planet. We have Lethal Lauren from the Court of Random Opinion. We have the cast of Vanderpump Villa. We have Leanne Locken from Real Housewives of Dallas. Lots of fun special guests for Dallas and Phoenix. So get your tickets right now. And be sure to get your tickets for Philly, Chicago, New York, Seattle, and Los Angeles. Go to nofilterlive.com to get your tickets now. And yeah. All right, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Give me a follow at Just Plain Zack. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack. And I will catch you guys tomorrow. Love you. Appreciate you. Have a good one. Ciao for now. Bye, guys. Bye, 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 bye.